I've noticed they're starting to kind of release their older stuff on a Spotify, but anything new they're not doing. What are your thoughts on that? Are you seeing that as kind of a trend that you're going to see not only in metal or in rock or anything like that, but just across the board?
Well, I think if people have the option, that they don't have to release it on Spotify, they probably will stop doing that. And, and for me, having whatever I have out there already is good. If somebody's listening to something and it suggests you may like this, and they go find it, maybe they'll look a little further and realize, wow, he's got other albums that aren't on here. Maybe I'll go buy this, off CD Baby for $5 or off another, or buy 3 songs, anything. I mean, it's better than, a penny is for 20 streams or whatever is ridiculous, if it's even that much. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just, I don't think many people realize that by streaming music that the artists aren't really making any money off of it. And you can't continue on. You can't tour. I know that. I can't remember the guy you were talking to that, he was saying that, without it, they can't tour. They can't do anything without any money.
No, that's a very valid point. And Steve, I go way back on your catalog. My favorite album that you ever did was Crazy Eights.
Wow!
I absolutely love that CD. And now your most recent one, 2 of 3. Big fan of it too. Last Mistake, which is the first track off of that CD. I have a feeling there's got to be a story there.
Well, there's kind of a story with everything, but I just can't really. Something inspires me, so I'll write about it. It's how I get it out. A painter will paint pictures and maybe express themselves that way. I can get stuff out. It's great therapy writing music, that's for sure. A lot of people don't have that way to vent and get out their feelings and that. But I don't want to be all feeling-y, but you know what I mean.
All right.
So yeah, I'm not going to say any names. That's what you're thinking, but
no.
Almost every song has to do with somebody or something that happened in my life or someone around me.
Sure. Would it be okay if we played that song now?
Oh yeah, go right ahead, man.
All right, this is Last Mistake off of Steve Cohn's most recent album, 2 of 3.
Such
All right, so that was Last Mistake from Steve Cohen's most recent album, 2 of 3. You know, he's really, really passionate about the Spotify thing, so let's just go back to that really quick. We want to talk about 2 of 3 because, again, there's a couple tracks that I really, really like that I want to talk to you about as well. But I know you find this a frustrating thing, Steve. And the interesting thing is that when you look at acts, it's really, really, really a tough thing to look at because you look at, and let's just look at an Iron Maiden. Yeah, Iron Maiden puts everything on streaming because they realize at this point, we're not making money on music. We don't give a crap. We're going to go and tour the world in our own plane. We're going to sell $150 seats in arenas all over the world, and that's how we make our money, and you're going to buy a $30 t-shirt, and we're all happy, and everyone's happy. Well, that's all well and good if you have the money and the tenure to tour. When you aren't a band that can do that, what the hell do you do?
Yeah, you don't have many outlets really. I mean, it's not to go back. I mean, I know a lot of people love Facebook now, but and I want to talk about MySpace because when I had a MySpace page, which I still have, I had more interaction with people around the world. I was able to reach more people, and I just can't believe the amount of people that I was able to reach. I can't do that in Facebook. Facebook has got it's basically clamped down. You can invite people to like your page, but it's just so hard to promote it. You can have Reverb Nation pages, which I have, and I get interaction from people that way. But having any kind of income off of it to tour, I mean, Iron Maiden's Iron Maiden, so they can do exactly what you said. They've been doing it for a long time. But anybody that's just starting out, it's really hard. And I've been doing it a long time, and it's never been about money for me, but it's nice to make some money back, on some of the stuff you work on.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really the whole point. I mean, you do it because you love it, but you also, you can't put a lot of time and effort into something you love when you need income from other means if the music's not doing it for you. You know what I mean? Which, we all need that to survive, and that sucks.
I mean, music's my passion. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's what I've done for a long time, so I really enjoy it, and it's never been about making money off of it, but it's nice. I mean, a couple of years ago, we did a Cyanide Scream show back in New York, and we did a couple shows, which is the other band I have, but it's basically still just me. But it's a long story with the label and everything. But, to do that show cost me over $2,000 because it's in New York. I'm in Arizona. I had to get gear there. I had to pay for transportation, hotels, and our gigs didn't pay anything, but it was more or less to see if we could actually do it, being spread out around the country, and we were able to do it. It was an expensive experiment, but we proved that we could do it. And that's where it ended. We were going to try and do more shows, but we just couldn't get them together. It was just so hard.
Now, real quick, Steve, let me ask you something. Off of 2 of 3, which I was listening to a lot even a little bit ago, actually, just before you joined us on the show, I really dig Jaded. My favorite track on the album. I don't know if it's the 9th track on the album.
It's one of the heavier songs.
I love that track, man. The first 5 seconds, and maybe that's it because it's just a heavier track. But within the first 5 seconds, I'm like, oh hell yeah, this is a great track. Tell me more about that.
Jaded. Well, again, it just has to do with a friendship of mine.
Sounds like it.
And just I don't want to say it be too specific because if they hear this, they'll probably figure it out. But it's just about having a passion to do something and having the ability to do something and be better at it and not applying yourself, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
So that's kind of what the whole gist of that story is. Another friend of mine in Texas told me that was one of his favorite tracks too, and I was shocked because to me it was just like, oh, that's a good song, but I'm going to put a little further in the running order, Trying to make a different impact with it.
Let me ask you something, because I probably piss listeners off a lot with this. And I haven't asked any artist this, but we're on the subject of it because you mentioned it's the 9th track, and you kind of put it a little bit further down in the arrangement of the album. I am a huge, we just talked about that in a review we did a little bit ago. I'm a huge proponent of the order of an album making sense and having an opening track kick you right square between the legs and say, hey, let's kick some ass. And then even having an album end on the right note and the right mood. And that's just me. Maybe I'm old fashioned. Maybe I'm whatever. But to me, that has a lot of importance as a listener. I'm disappointed by a opening track that sucks when the second and third track are clearly better choices. And I'm like, why did this person choose this song instead of that? As an artist yourself, do you fight that battle as well of, okay, what should I pick for my first track? How much thought and, I guess, time do you put into like track order essentially on an album?
Well, probably too much time, but I do think about all those things. I want it to flow. I want them to kind of fit together. I just want it to be, you have your highs and your lows, and I agree. I like to come out, banging in your face right away, and usually I'll have a faster song at the beginning. But this time I went for a little more of a mid-tempo song, I guess, a little more emotion and feeling in it. But, no, yeah, I anguish over that. I anguish over everything. The mixes, I'll listen to it. I think I got a perfect running order, and I'll play it 20 times in a row and go, I got to move those two songs around. But, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I appreciate that people look at albums that way, because if you're just buying songs, which a lot of people do nowadays, you're missing the whole point of the effort that went into it, where somebody took time to figure out the running order to make it flow for a reason,
Yeah, I cannot tell you, Biv, let me ask you. I cannot tell you the last time I'm like, oh, let me buy a song. I either buy the album or I don't. That's just me.
I'm the same way, absolutely. But I think it's the era we grew up in. I mean, you'd go buy a Dio record, and, you played it from song 1 through song 10. I mean, that's just the way it was.
Yeah, I'm not a skipper. I don't skip songs either. I'll listen to a whole album by somebody. They
don't ever get in the car with Jason then. Just don't ever.
Oh, that's true.
I have a friend that was like, I was driving around with this girl back in New York a couple summers ago, and she kept skipping songs. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm trying to find a certain song.
No, hold on. Hold on. I got to clarify for those who are listening, and Steve, for you as well. I do have music ADD. I will admit that. But it's usually only to have the person I'm in the car with saying, oh, dude, I haven't told you about these guys. Let me play something for you that they do. Does that make any sense? So I'll be a minute and a half, 2 minutes into a track from band A, and I'll go, oh, shit, I never told you about band B. Oh, do you got to hear the song? That's what happens.
As long as you do that with me, it's okay, man. Go for it.
Well, there you go. I can do that.
Just don't skip from me. Just go to me.
No, of course not. Why the hell would I do that?
Well, speaking of CDs, Steve, what are you listening to right now besides your own material? What else are you listening to? What would I find in your playlist or your CD player right now?
Well, I'm working on 3 of 3 right now, so that's pretty much all I've been listening to for the last week or so. Again, I'm at I mixed it now. I'm analyzing the mixes and the running order, but I did pick up the new Anvil. I'm old school metal, so I listen to Anvil. And another band that, I don't know, maybe you guys heard. Yeah, I'm sure you heard of Nordic Union. It's a singer from Pretty Maids.
Yeah.
The guitar player from Eclipse. That's a pretty good disc. I don't know if you've heard that yet or not, but